The girls are fighting, y'all. The girls are fighting. So here we have Tim Pool, and he's going to take some shots pretty directly at Nick Fuentes. So as you all know, Nick Fuentes is the Groyper guy. He's pretty openly a Nazi. I remember when he went on Alex Jones' channel and he debated him on whether or not Hitler was good. Alex Jones took the, no, Hitler is not good position, and Nick Fuentes took the, well, kind of is. So just so we know who we're dealing with here. So that's who Nick Fuentes is. And Tim Pool, of course, is the guy who likes to fancy himself an above-the-fray, enlightened centrist type. But if you go through his content, overwhelmingly, it's just shitting on the left, shitting on the left, shitting on the left, shitting on Democrats, shitting on liberals, shitting on the left. It's one of those guys where, like, he could say, oh, I'm an old-school liberal, right? Or I'm a centrist. And if you have him write down the policy positions that he claims to believe in, you might do the math on that and go, hey, look, he is a liberal, or he is a centrist. But there's a difference between what you are nominally and what you are effectively. He could nominally be an old school liberal or a centrist, but effectively, with all of his content and the overwhelming message that's beamed out through his channel, he's just a right winger, right? He's just conservative. Okay, so now that we set all that up, why are the girls fighting? Well, it's Israel. All right, here we go.
And I think we're wasting money on foreign excursions. Here's the problem. When Nick Fuentes says independence from Israel, I assure you the average person believes that's ridiculous. They have their audience. The average person likes Israel.
What? What does that mean? The average person likes Israel. Okay. Do they like the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in lobbyist money spent by Israel in this country? Do they like that? Do they like that we keep sending them money and weapons all the time, endlessly, as they carry out a brutal assault on Gaza? Do they like that? What does that mean? Oh my God. Tim has been weird on this issue of Israel. It's been very strange to watch. It's like he tries to not take a position and not piss people off, but then eventually he feels like he has to take a position, and then he kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth. All right, one more time from the top. Here we go.
And I think we're wasting money on foreign excursions. Here's the problem. When Nick Fuentes says independence from Israel, I assure you the average person believes that's ridiculous. They have their audience. The average person likes Israel. They do not agree with Nick Fuentes on this one.
Independence from Israel. Now, of course, when Nick Fuentes says that, what he means is there's a satanic cabal of Jews running the world. And that's factually not true, right? But if you mean independence from Israel, as in stop with all the AIPAC money, stop with all the Israel lobby money, stop with them buying our politicians in the same way that the Saudi lobby buys our politicians, in the same way that the NRA buys our politicians. Do people want independence from Israel in that respect? Absolutely they would. They'd want independence from any fucking foreign government that's spending a colossal amount of money to control our politics.
They do not agree with Nick Fuentes on this one. The other big issue is that a lot of Christians, a lot of evangelicals want us to help Israel because of the Holy Land.
Take that one step further, Tim. Why else? Why else do evangelical fundamentalist Christians want us to help Israel? Because they think that's where the end times is going to be ushered in. That's where the apocalypse, that's where Armageddon is going to happen. What's going to happen? You're going to have most of the Jews get murdered and a small percentage of them get to go up to heaven. But the only reason they defend Israel so vehemently is because they think Israel needs to have all of the territory in order for Jesus to come back. And then most of the Jews can be killed and they'll support it, and only a small percentage will get into heaven because they'll convert. Finish that thought. Don't make it sound so benign. Don't make it sound so benign. Oh, Christians support, evangelicals support it because it's the Holy Land. It goes a lot deeper than that now, doesn't it? They have some end times fucking insane fantasy, mystical bullshit, which is a cynical reason for supporting Israel. And by the way, like I said, they want most of them to die anyway when push comes to shove. All right, here we go.
My attitude is this. My guy. I'm trying to go to people and say, America first. And the first thing that pops in their minds is Nick Fuentes hates Israel.
When you say America first, the first thing people will think of is Donald Trump. That's what they'll think of. The more pure among the America first crowd would say something like, yeah, let's stop spending money on wars and stop giving all these countries our money and let's focus on ourselves here at home. What are you talking about? Somebody says America first, the first thing they think of is not fucking Nick Fuentes. You're way too online, son. Not even close. Most of these people who say America first probably don't even know who the fuck Nick Fuentes is. And by the way, Trump himself is a cuck to the Israel lobby. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of Republicans, certainly the elected ones, are cucks to the Israel lobby. And there's some percentage of the Republican voter base that is pro-Israel. But there's also some that aren't. And he's of course, overlooking all of them.
What does that have to do with us securing our borders, bringing jobs back, getting rid of people like Joe Biden, getting accountability for the corruption, cleaning up our streets? No idea. No idea. I believe, whether intentionally or not, it is sabotaging the idea of America first. They take the name, they take the brand, and they taint it. They poison the well. That's why a lot of people accuse him of being a Fed. I don't know about all that. What I can tell you is there's a lot of people who aren't going to say America first because Nick Fuentes certainly is the most famous person pushing that message. Now, I do get it. Donald Trump pushes that message too.
What is he talking about? Nick Fuentes is the biggest? That is so not true. He's so online. Oh my God, this is embarrassing to watch.
Nick Fuentes certainly is the most famous person pushing that message. Now, I do get it. Donald Trump pushes that message too. But Nick has run this brand. And so what happens is a lot of people are going to begin to associate America first with strict anti-Israel policy. I don't care about Israel.
Really? You have a weird way of showing it. You have a weird way of showing it by going on a long-winded, meandering rant about how stop being so anti-Israel. I don't care about Israel, but stop being we don't want to associate America first with being anti-Israel. Tim, my guy, Israel, as of this very second, is carrying out a genocide and an ethnic cleansing. The correct position on that is to be anti that. That's correct. Now, I want to be clear. Nick Fuentes does not take the position he takes because, like a lefty, he's anti-genocide, he's anti-ethnic cleansing, he wants human rights for Palestinians. That's not why he's taking that position. He's taking that position because he's anti-Semitic. And he thinks there's an evil cabal of Jews running the entire world. And so it's a convenient thing for him to latch onto, right? So it's not coming from a pure place. But let's also be very clear. The idea that it would be a problem for a Republican candidate to say, you know what, we sent too much money and too many weapons to Israel. I think it's time, they take care of it themselves. That's really not our business. The idea that that's a knock against that person? No, not even close. The only people you'll be pissing off is the extremist, fundamentalist evangelical Christians who want the end times and all of the politicians who are bought by the Israel lobby. You're not going to get a staunch disagreement from conservatives who will be like, yeah, I don't know why we do all this foreign aid anyway, right? What a weird segment from Tim Pool.
It means as much to me as Burma and Saudi Arabia does. I have questions about our funding of all of these places.
If Tim Pool says, I don't want to fund Israel, then what's the point of this fucking segment? Why are you doing such a long segment? All right, one more time. We'll speed it up a little bit. Here we go.
And I think we're wasting money on foreign excursions. Here's the problem. When Nick Fuentes says, independence from Israel, I assure you the average person believes that's ridiculous. They have their audience. The average person likes Israel. They do not agree with Nick Fuentes on this one. The other big issue is that a lot of Christians, a lot of evangelicals want us to help Israel because of the Holy Land. Regardless, my attitude is this. My guy, I'm trying to go to people and say, America first. And the first thing that pops in their minds is Nick Fuentes hates Israel. What does that have to do with us securing our borders, bringing jobs back, getting rid of people like Joe Biden, getting accountability for the corruption?
What a principled conservative would say is those things are linked because we keep sending billions and billions of dollars to Israel when we could be spending it on those things you just listed. That's what a principled conservative would say. Now, there are very few of them, but that's what a principled conservative would say. And by the way, this is the same logic that Tim Pool understands completely when it comes to Ukraine. When it comes to Ukraine, he'll make that exact argument. Why are we sending so much money? Why are we sending so many weapons? Don't we have enough problems here? We need to stop. We need to declare independence from Ukraine, right? He'd be fine making that argument for Ukraine, but on Israel, he's not.
Cleaning up our streets. No idea. No idea. I believe, whether intentionally or not, it is sabotaging the idea of America first. They take the name, they take the brand, and they taint it. They poison the well. That's why a lot of people accuse him of being a Fed. I don't know about all that. What I can tell you is there's a lot of people who aren't going to say America first because Nick Fuentes certainly is the most famous person pushing that message. Now, I do get it. Donald Trump pushes that message too. But Nick has run this brand. And so what happens is a lot of people are going to begin to associate America First with strict anti-Israel policy. I don't care about Israel. I don't want to fund Israel. It means as much to me as Burma and Saudi Arabia does. I have questions about our funding of all of these places.
The Republicans are in a really weird place right now, and I'll explain why. On the one hand, you do have the Nick Fuentes types, the ones who are just flat out white supremacists, ethno-staters. In the case of Nick Fuentes, he's a literal Nazi. He defended Hitler, right? You have some of those that you have to deal with, and they don't want us supporting Israel, right? Not for the right reasons, but they don't want it. Okay, so that's some percentage. Then you have the evangelical Christians, the ones who want to usher in the end times, and you have the politicians who are totally bought by the Israel lobby and corrupt and willing to go along with them no matter what. So you're stuck between these two positions that are irreconcilable. They're irreconcilable. Now, by the way, which position is winning within the party? Well, Donald Trump himself is going out there saying, Joe Biden is pro-Hamas, Joe Biden is pro-terrorist, Joe Biden has abandoned Israel. I will never abandon Israel. Right? So they're saying we're going to the right of Biden on this, and we're going to be giant neocon warmonger extremists, send Israel all the money, send Israel all the weapons. And in the midst of that ideology, winning within elite Republican circles, Tim Pool goes out there and does a segment, basically what? Decrying the people who are anti-Israel conservatives? Again, they're not doing it for the right reasons. Let's be clear about that. They're just flat out anti-Semitic, right? But this is your big beef? Why, if you, Tim Pool, are quote unquote America First, why aren't you the first one out there doing a video criticizing Trump, criticizing the Republicans who have cucked themselves to the Israel lobby, and taking a principled conservative stance of, I want to cut off all the money to Israel. I want to cut off all the weapons to Israel. They're doing a genocide. They're doing an ethnic cleansing. But most importantly, this is not America First. This is internationalism. This is globalism. This is us sending too much money elsewhere. We need to rebuild here. We got to protect our border. We got to do this. We got to do that. That's what I'm going to focus on. He doesn't do that. So here we're left this weird position that Tim Pool is in. I feel like he's playing hide the ball with what he really believes on this issue, and he's been doing it. I remember when Emma Vigeland went on Tim Pool, this issue came up of Israel, and he very weird around that topic, danced around it, dodged it, turned into Neo from the Matrix, right? Very weird. And he's seemingly doing the same. I don't care about Israel, but I'm mad that you keep talking about Israel. What? I don't care about Israel, but we don't want to be perceived as anti-Israel. Well, if you don't care about it, why would you care perceived as anti-Israel? What are you talking about? Okay. He's confused. And my guess is, or he's hiding his true power level. He's hiding his true beliefs on it. But either way, I love to see the girls fight. Nick Fuentes, you're on the clock. Just like Kendrick and Drake, where they would go back and forth. All right, you're on the clock. No, you're on the clock. You're on the clock, Nick Fuentes. Let's see. Fire back at Tim Pool. Let's have Beanie on incel violence. I am here for all of it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.